Describe this man that you saw. This is when she goes into describing him. She says, رَأَيْتُ رَجُلًا. Now if you guys, I'd encourage you guys to write this down to remember how Nabiullah Muhammad looks like. So it's important to write it. If you don't have a paper and pen, you've got a phone, write it down on your notes, inshallah ta'ala. She said, I saw a man who is ظاهر الوضاءة أبلج الوجه حسن الخلق. I saw a man who was distinctly handsome, distinct from the rest. Nabiullah Muhammad was distinctly handsome, sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Okay. Also, she said about the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he was not sallallahu alayhi wasallam في عينيه دعج. في عينيه دعج. She said about his eyes, the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam, his pupils, they were very dark. His pupils are dark. And the white part of the eyes were very white. Sallallahu alayhi wasallam. His eyelashes, she said, are very long, the Prophet's eyelashes, and they curved. Sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Some of the narrations mention that his eyebrows were stuck together. And some of the narrations mentioned they were very close to each other. What seems to be apparent is that they were very close to each other. His eyebrows, his two eyebrows were very close to each other. Sallallahu alayhi wasallam. She said he did not have a big belly. The Prophet didn't have a belly. Sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Nor did the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam have a small head. His head was not small. Sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Then she says, he had a long neck. The neck of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam was long. And he had a thick beard. The beard of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam was thick. The density of the Prophet's beard. There was no spaces in the Prophet's beard. Full density. Sallallahu alayhi wasallam. يعني وفي لحيته كثافة. كثافة means density. Sallallahu alayhi wasallam. It wasn't very long, his beard. Sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Nor was it very short. No one has described the length of the Prophet's beard. لكن علي بن أبي طالب, they said about him, كانت لحيته تملأ بين كتفيه. Ali ibn Abi Talib, on the other hand, his beard would fill between his two shoulders. So from the back. But what we do know from the Prophet ﷺ is that he had a big beard. We know he had a big beard because of the famous hadith of Abu Hurairah. They said, Ya Rasulullah, when you say Allahu Akbar, you read something. And we recognize that you read بِالضِّرَابِ لِحْيَتِكَ, the movement of your beard. The movement of your beard. So the Sahabas can tell from the back that the Prophet's beard was moving. Sah? That's how we knew that you were reading something before Fatiha. So please teach us, what is it that you're reading? And he told them the dua ul-istiftah, the dua that you read before you read Fatiha. Okay, listen to this again. She said, in samata fa'alayhi al-waqar, when he's quiet and he doesn't talk, because the Prophet was quiet, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. She said, when he was quiet, you can see veneration and haiba from him. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Yani when he is silent, it was a silence of a man who's contemplating. وَإِن تَكَلَّمَ, and when he speaks, salawatullahi wa salamuhu alayhi, samahu ala al-baha'u, when he speaks now, eminence and splendor exhibits in his words, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. One of the narrations, in this narration she mentioned, it was like pearls and jewels were dropping from his mouth when he spoke. Then she described him and she said, he's not lanky. And he's not very tall. And he's not too short that he would be lost in the crowd of men. Rab'atu min al-nas. He was in the middle. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Ajmal al-nas. The most handsome person I've ever seen, she said. وأبهاه من بعيد وأحسنه وأجمله من قريب حلو المنطق فصلا لا نزرع ولا هذر. Of course, he didn't speak sallallahu alayhi wasallam a lot, and he didn't speak little. Moderation. He spoke when it was needed, and he didn't when he didn't want to, sallallahu alayhi wasallam. This is the description that she gave about the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam. She said about him, you will never be tired of looking at him. Sallallahu alayhi wasallam. If you looked at him, you won't be tired. You just want to keep looking at him. Sallallahu alayhi wasallam. She said he is like a branch between two branches. He is the most handsome person I've ever seen. She repeated that a few times. As soon as she finished that description, her husband said to her, هذا والله صاحب قريش. I know this man. This is the man Quraysh was looking for. The Muhammad ibn Abdullah. He was already known.